Oh my goodness, wow, you didn't have to creep up on me like that. Welcome back, guys. This is my channel, obviously. If you're watching it, you know that. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and we had another really good day in the market, and I want to talk about some of the key takeaways and some of these stocks that are in play that you should be looking at for tomorrow that are probably going to have some really big runs because, you know, they were either moving today or they started moving in after hours, and I'm just really excited to see what they're going to do. So I'm going to take you into my computer and talk about these stocks specifically, as well as some of the big lessons from today, because there were actually a lot that you might not have heard about before. I might not have discussed these before. So I'm going to be talking about VWAP. I'm going to be talking about revenge trading, and that's all I can think about off the top of my head, but there's probably some other good ones in there, so definitely keep watching. Any one of these could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the course of your trading career if you haven't heard of these before. So yeah, hopefully these lessons will help you guys. If they do, please remember to smash that like button, obliterate it, destroy it, expunge it, burn it in the fires of Mordor, you know, whatever you want to do with it, that's fine. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my computer. I just wanted to film a quick aside about revenge trading. Revenge trading is when you miss the perfect setup on a stock that you were waiting for all day. You predicted it perfectly, but you didn't pull the trigger for whatever reason. Later on in the day, you might see one that is not nearly as good, and because you're mad at yourself for missing that earlier trade, you pull the trigger on a less than A grade setup, and this ends up costing you in the long run. Now, you might get lucky and you might break even or you might profit on that trade, but more likely than not, if you have a worse entry, statistics again are not on your side and you're not going to be profitable doing that in the long run. So this is something that's super important about being a trader. You need to manage your emotions and make sure that you're not revenge trading these stocks. If you miss a play, okay, man, it happens. You know, every single person on this earth is going to miss plays because they cannot see every single play in the market. No one has 5,000 eyes on their head. I mean, that'd be sick, man. I would probably look like an ant or something, but we can't do that. So when you miss plays, accept it and look for the next great play. Don't go trading these C grade setups just because you missed the A grade setup earlier and you're mad at yourself. That is what revenge trading is, and it will turn you into an unprofitable trader. All right, guys, so this is my list of stocks that I want you to be looking at for tomorrow. Now, number one on this list is SYN. And why is this on the list? Well, you can see here, it had a really good day yesterday, and it was spiking up all of after hours, and that's really what we want to see. You know, all of after hours, and then pre-market, it continued this uptrend. Market opened, and kind of like bingo, man. I think a lot of people underestimated how much this could go up. It went up from 38 cents and continued to go on up. Now, this looks pretty ugly right now, but I would not be surprised if this is able to pick back up and bounce and continue to run. Now, am I going to buy it right now hoping that it does that? Absolutely not. But if we go look at the chart history on BNGO, the 5-day chart, I counted out bingo right here because it closed really ugly, and I was thinking, all right, man, this thing is done. It's going to keep fading. It's already up from 90 cents. There's no way it keeps running. And then it ran all the way up to $7. So this is a crazy market. You guys don't want to underestimate this, but you also don't want to believe the hype and hold and hope and watch your gains slip away. Holding and hoping is not a strategy, despite what some of the people in the Discord chat think, and you guys cannot do that if you want to be profitable in the long run. So, I mean, if you bought bingo, I don't know, if you bought it here and it was up to 7s and then you let it run against you and now you're negative, or, you know, you bought it here and you didn't take gains and it's continuing to go, it's sad to see, man. And, you know, who knows? Potentially this stock goes to $100, but the more likely scenario is that it continues to fade back on down, and you don't want to let these gains slip away from you if you have them. So that's why, again, I always recommend selling into strength when you have it, because if you can train yourself to sell when there's a bunch of green candles and buy when there's a bunch of red candles, overall you will be a lot more profitable. And that lesson continues throughout all the stocks for today. So let's go into the next one. This one is a very, very low float play, and I think this one has the potential to go insane like we saw GLSI do, like we saw, ACY do. If I go back on the 1 month chart for that, just so you guys can see, I mean, you know, this thing went from $240 all the way up to $38, and it had a similar float. Again, if you don't know this already, float is the number of shares that are available to be traded by the public, and the smaller that number is, the more volatile the stock can be. So it's a lot easier for it to spike if it's a lower float. And you can see, again, on MCX, this one had a really nice spike, and this is the type of play that I like to get into. I missed this one because I was looking at other plays, and you know, I need to be better about this. I think I might have to start having multiple charts pulled up so I can not miss plays like this, because when you see a spike like this, here, let me zoom in a little. This is the perk that we really like to see. You see this increase in volume right here. This is a really good sign, and the fact that it's able to break this downtrend. Here, let me get two lines here. Let me get an uptrend. This, to me, this looks like an ascending wedge. So obviously this line is not gonna be perfect. I'm trying to draw it quickly for you guys, but you can see there's a very distinct line from the top coming down and then from the bottom coming up. And when it breaks this, it's very likely to continue in whatever direction that goes in. And to me, buying right here is a very high odds play, because if it's able to break out over this and break out over this and break out over this, like, you're golden. And the risk here is, you know, you're risking off of one of these lows. So, I mean, it's very low risk. You can cut immediately if it fails under these levels. You know, you can put it at, you know, your risk could be 740 if you wanted, just to give it a little more wiggle room. But this is great. If you see a ton of green candles and then you buy right here, you're probably going to end up being negative because you're going to end up selling somewhere in there. So this is a lot higher odds play than just buying something because you see it spiking. And trust me, I struggle with this a lot, guys. If I see something spiking, I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss out on these gains. I want to buy this right now. But when you buy, when you see a ton of spiking, you're giving into FOMO, fear of missing out, and you're almost always going to end up going negative on your position because the odds are not in your favor. Could you make money? Could this continue to immediately spike all the way up to $20? Absolutely it could. But statistically speaking, more times than not, this is going to see some type of pullback. So if you wait for that pullback and then buy the dip, you are so much more likely to be profitable. And this is something I want you guys to ingrain in yourself. Do not chase breakouts, buy the dip, because this one thing will increase how profitable you are by a long shot. And you can see after it breaks out, I mean, it just goes on to absolutely rip, man. This thing went all the way up to 1250. Is this over? Maybe, but I'm not sure, man. This thing could continue to rip tomorrow, break past the previous highs of yesterday, go on and squeeze up to 30, 40, 50. If we go look at the past history of the chart, I mean, this thing definitely has the potential. We go to the max. Look at this. From 9 to 55. I mean, this thing can definitely spike, and we have a ton of volume, and you know, I'm excited to see what it can do. So definitely have this one on your watch list. Next one is PECK, and this one, here's why I didn't like it too much, because it was up big already and kind of just faded. There were some pops in here, but short sellers just shorted right into these pops, and it just kept fading all day. This is what that means. So, like, you see this here? Anytime there's a big run-up, like, you might be thinking, oh, I really want to buy because there's a big run-up. But short sellers are thinking, ooh, this is a great opportunity for me to get a better entry. So again, you don't want to be buying right here. If you want to buy somewhere, buy near the support and then sell if it cracks under the support. That is a better play on this. So potentially this could continue to run tomorrow. I'm not sure. You know, this mainly was just a big move and then it just kind of faded. So this one probably is not going to be too important. I just wanted to explain kind of that short sellers are always shorting into these pops, trying to get better averages so that they can short all the way back down. So that is why these pops fail and these things fade all day long. ONTX. This was another really important one today, and there's some good lessons from this one. I definitely want you guys to be watching this one. After hours, it is fading a little bit, but again, you know, it's still pretty near these highs. I mean, this could easily recover in pre-market tomorrow and then continue on up. So definitely have this one on your watch list. There's some good takeaways from this stock. But let me actually go to, if I go here, this is Think or Swim by TD Ameritrade. And this allows me to see, you can add specific indicators, and I'll show you how to add VWAP. This is the important one that I want to talk about. So here's how you use VWAP. If you go to Edit Studies, you can type in VWAP and you pull it up right there. And then for whatever reason, it wants to have other things on there. So I don't want the upper band or the lower band, so I unclicked all these boxes. That is what I do. and then you just hit OK, and then now this line is on the chart. And this is the VWAP, and this is very important because this is a better moving average than any of the other ones, and a lot of day traders use this, so this is something that you definitely want to have. If you don't have a Thinkorswim account, you can make a TD Ameritrade account for free. If you want live data though, you're going to have to deposit $500. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to have $500 in your account to get live data, which is a little bit frustrating, but it's a decent option if you want to have VWAP on your charts. Fidelity does offer VWAP, but they don't let you put on the chart, which is kind of annoying. ONTX. This is the perfect example of why you guys should be using VWAP. Let me zoom in real quick. So you can see here, VWAP is a very good way of getting a dip buy and getting a better entry. So if a stock is trending up and it's looking good, healthy overall, but then it sees a pullback, which is normal on a healthy stock. There's pullbacks, that happens. Stocks go up, stocks go down. And where you should get in is on that VWAP. So this is normally where stocks bounce. And you can also get in, if you see it uptrending, you see it making higher highs, etc., and breaking out, and then you can risk off of the VWAP. That's another thing that is a really good thing to do. But you can see here, this would have been an incredible pullback entry. You can see here, it spiked all the way up to 95. If you bought in here, yeah, you might have made some money, but this also could have failed. So chasing this is not a good idea. What is the good idea is waiting for it to have a pullback and dip buying when it touches VWAP. Because a lot of people look to dip buy when it touches VWAP. Just the same way that if I go to, let me see. If I go to a stock like this is not a super great example, but you can see here, once it's under VWAP, a lot of short sellers, anytime there's a spike up into it, they look to short into that spike and keep it under VWAP. And when they do, and it fails to break out over VWAP, it normally cracks pretty hard. So that is the reason that I love looking at VWAP. It's just a very important indicator, one of the most important price points whenever a chart is hanging around in that area. So if there's a big spike and then it comes back down to VWAP, that is usually a good place to be dip buying, or it's a good place to be risking off of if you have to buy a little bit above the VWAP. So that is why it is so important. And there were a lot of plays that had this today, but JAGX is another example of why you should not be chasing stocks, because you can see here, if you buy when it's a ton of green candles in a row, you're probably going to end up red on that trade. So you can see, again, if you buy right after a bunch of red candles, you are way more likely to get a good entry and then be overall positive on your trade. I bought right here. I underestimated this, so I took puny profits, I think like 4 cents a share, something like that. But I mean, this is a good dip buy, even on a stock that is up this much. So this stock could definitely continue to run. I'm not sure what it's going to do, but definitely have JAGX on your watch list. Going to keep going down here, try to speed up a little bit for you guys. So this one, I mean, it was on the move today. This is another one that I was using, NCTY. It's another one that I was using VWAP on, and it was pretty helpful in general. You can see here, it broke down under VWAP, so I wasn't really watching it here. And when it was able to perk back up through VWAP, that's when it gets interesting to me. So when it perks back up through VWAP after it's under it, and then it bounces back off of it and is able to hold, that is normally a good sign that you should go long. And that's what I like to do. That is a better risk to reward setup than just chasing into a spike and hoping that it continues to go up. And you can see here, a lot of times, it bounced off that VWAP and then continued to go back up, bounced off that VWAP, continued to go back up. But also it's an important level on the short side. Once it cracks the VWAP, in this case, it really cracked. And then it came back up, and now they're shorting every time it gets to the VWAP. They're shorting, it gets back there. They're shorting, it gets back there. And it's such an important level that I really want you guys to pay attention to it. Also, another thing that you can look for is the volume. The volume confirms the bounce off of the VWAP. So there's a big increase in volume right when it gets the VWAP and then it bounces off. That means that there's a lot of people who are looking to buy at the VWAP, which is confirming the fact that it's holding. If you see it crack under the VWAP or get to the VWAP and there's not really an increase in volume, it just kind of fades off, that's not usually a good sign. So just keep that in mind. Continuing on down, ZOM, this is the one that was a good after hours play, spiked up here. I bought it here and then got spooked out here. It went all the way up to 59 cents today. Was absolutely incredible. And then had a good dip buying opportunity in there. This could definitely continue to move, but the float is a lot bigger, so I'm not super convinced this won't do anything other than just continue to fade off. But, you know, keep it on your watch list. This one is another big one for sure. CYTH. Just keep that one on your watch list. CHEK. I might have mentioned this one already. This one was up big. This is the one that continued to hell as an after hours and then just kind of faded off. But again, this one was up from 40 cents. VIRI. You know, this one had a nice little spike, but I'm not too sure about what it's going to be doing. Volume is pretty low on this one, so if it continues to rise, definitely keep it on your watch list. But for now, you know, not super interested in that one. TSMP was actually able to perk up today, which is a really good thing. If we go look at the 1-year chart, you know, getting a green candle, it's holding that 14 support area, which is a very good sign. And, you know, I really do expect with this earnings investor call coming up on the 22nd, I really think that this should continue to perk back up. So that is what I personally expect from this, and wouldn't be surprised to continue to see that. GHSI, this is another one that you guys really need to be watching. This is one that absolutely took off in after hours, and this was also actually a really good dip buy. You buy right after these cracks when there's an increase in volume, and it's a better risk to reward play. And then after hours, this thing absolutely skyrocketed. Up absolutely crazy, and I'm excited to see what this is going to do tomorrow. This definitely could be moving big, so this is a very big watch. SENS, this one was moving a lot earlier in the day and just kind of faded on back down, so I'm not too convinced this is going to do anything huge, but you know, definitely keeping it on my watch list for now. This one had a big spike after hours. I think they had some nice news. So in this case, I'm just waiting to see what this does. This could potentially form a nice U-shaped breakout and then continue on spiking. So definitely looking for that on this one. Not going to be chasing it. Not going to be just randomly buying it. You know, you have to have a plan going in. But if we start to get some nice curling action like this, I'm definitely going to be excited to figure out what is going on with this one and see if there's a good entry on it. COUV. This one always has those nice panics that lead to nice buying opportunities. This one happened here, so definitely look for that in the future. I don't believe this stock is going to the moon and it's the greatest thing ever, but I think there's definitely some opportunities on here and there's still volatility that you can take advantage of, so look out for that. GAXY had some nice dip buys, and again, overall, you can see here, this thing just kind of sold off all day, so this is why I don't hold in hope. If you get in right here and take your profits when you have them, you can be profitable, I think, on all these dip buys, even if you don't catch the bottom perfectly. So definitely be looking for dip buys, man. ALPP, this is another great example of dip buys. Definitely be watching this one tomorrow. Could have another morning sell-off. I mean, it's had a morning sell-off every single day for the past 5 days. Look at that. Every single day. It's crazy. So today, it happened here. And yeah, I underestimated this one. Definitely did. I was watching other ones. I figured it was bottoming here, but you know, I thought there was so much pressure it would just kind of continue to sell off. But you know, we've had a lot of red days in a row, so I don't think it's, you know, that unheard of for it to bounce this much. And I mean, it was beautiful, man. It literally just held this uptrend, held it, and then yeah, it was just nice, man. If you dip bought this here after these panics, you were golden. And that is the beauty of dip buying after panics, because your risk to reward is so much better. TAUG. This one had, again, another really nice morning panic, another nice dip buying opportunity, man. I mean, that's pretty much it on this one. So look for that continuing, and I'm not sure what it's going to do, but if there's another panic, I will be looking to dip buy. I should probably make a specific list of dip buying stocks, just because in the morning it happens so quickly, and if I'm watching other stuff, I usually miss them. So that's something that I probably need to be doing. AITX, this also had a really nice panic dip buy. This was one that I bought right here as it was bouncing, and the only reason that I didn't make significantly more on it was I was watching other plays and I got bored here. I saw it making higher lows and I was like, I'm not too convinced on this one, so I took some measly profits. You can see here, AITX, I took $5 profits on this. Wow. And then right after that, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. So, you know, intuition is right. Again, if you see this many red candles in a row, man, that's ridiculous. So be ready to dip buy those. And if I go right here, you can see this guy actually did a nice, I guess, little blog about what you can trade with VWAP. So they talk about the pullback entry. So you use VWAP to get back in on pullbacks. And then also, if it's under VWAP for a long time and then breaks through VWAP, it's normally a good sign that the sellers are now in control. So you can buy when a candle closes above the VWAP and it breaks back out above. So that's another good sign that a stock is perking back up and could continue. It can also be a stop. So like if you buy in here, you could say I'm selling at the VWAP. And same thing on like a pullback. You know, if you get in on one of these pullbacks, you can say my risk is the VWAP. So that is another really good way to use it. And VWAP can also be a good way if you're dip buying and then you sell at the highs. So definitely look out for that. I definitely use that too. So if it spikes up here, comes back down, is able to break through the VWAP, look to enter when it breaks back through the VWAP, and then look to sell at the highs, or at least sell half at the highs and then sell more here in case it can't break through the highs. And yeah, you can also use Fibonacci. I haven't gotten into that yet just because Fidelity does not really have that. If you want to see where VWAP is on Fidelity, I can show you guys real quick. So it's right here. You can add it if you hit Manage, Add and Remove Columns. You can add VWAP as a column. So this is the only way you can see it. You can't see it directly on the chart. I don't know why they haven't added this yet. You know, people have been requesting this forever, but you can at least see it here on your watch list. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Again, if you did and you haven't obliterated that like button yet, please do it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you tomorrow in the Discord, live bright and early at, what is it, 9 a.m.? Yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together.
Besar tu boca si te despiertas, mi tiempo también es tuyo porque me inspiras. Solo quiero que seas la única que así me mira.